Hey, Dr. Karen Can here with another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And if you woke up early this week with a little bit of feeling out of sorts, you know, discombobulated would be a good word, or even in crisis, then you're not alone. So with the last ascensions last week, Thursday, Sunday, people woke up Monday morning pretty discombobulated. In fact, I saw some, people on the road kind of veering past the median. I mean, they just were kind of out of it. So now, of course, being clairsentient, I get to feel that in my body and then get to see whether that's my stuff or somebody else's stuff. So that's kind of mass consciousness stuff. So you may have some difficulty integrating the last ascension. So I think for your daily healing, it's a really great idea to check how well you're integrating the ascension. So every single day, if you can, check that, because we're getting ascension upgrades very, very rapidly, sometimes 2-3 times a week. So it will be helpful if you do that. So if you can, do that now, because I'm going to give you a download of healing frequencies. So if you want to pause this video, you can go ahead and do that, and then check how well you're integrating the ascension, maybe overall, and then maybe check each of the areas individually: physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, energetically, dimensionally. Those are the ones we've been counting so far. And get a number out of 100, how well you're integrating that at this moment. So go ahead and do that. You can pause the video and then come back when you're ready. Okay, so if you got your numbers, what I want to do is do a healing for you. So I think what I'll do is because things are changing so rapidly, this is so challenging for many folks, and of course my Ascension healing products 1 and 2 are not going to be available until October. Sorry, guys. What I want to do is give you at least some snippets of some of those energies that you can integrate now. So if you keep following my Spiritual Medicine Digest, that'll help you, because we're gonna help you each week with whatever is present and what's going on. So if you are driving, don't close your eyes. But if you are not driving, you can go ahead and close your eyes if it's safe to do so, and see if you can feel these in your body. Okay, you ready? All right, so it's now commanded that you be able to integrate the ascension with immediacy, ease, and grace, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically, dimensionally, and in all ways, in the highest and best way. Thank you. All right, so go ahead and just kind of let that settle into your body. And then if you want, after the video, you can pause it now. You can go ahead and recheck all those areas and see how you're doing. And of course, you can repeat that command with intention into any area that is still less than 95%. Then my goal is always 95% in all areas. Okay, so I'm hoping that will help you, especially if you're feeling a little discombobulated, a little, ungrounded. Remember your spiritual healing exercises, to do those every day, your energy clearing exercises. And if you haven't seen my class, on that, you can check out my blog and look back at that class. It's called Energy Clearing. So what is it called? Energy Clearing and Rejuvenating Your Energy Body. Something like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I'm still having a little bit of this discombobulation, trying to remember the names of my classes. But anyway, just let me know if you can't find that class. It is on learnitlive.com. And if you go to my page, Karen Can, you'll be able to see that is, on one of the classes. So learning to clear your energy body, clear your aura, pull in your aura if you need to in public areas, ground, and put your shield up every single day. I mean, that's just what's necessary right now. Most of us are not so enlightened in all ways that we can get away with not doing this and feeling completely functional. So I highly encourage you to do those every day without fail, just like you brush your teeth, hopefully, and, take a bath or shower. It's, your daily spiritual energetic exercises. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you today? So something interesting, some knowledge I was given, which, I really don't know what to think of it, except that no one else has ascribed this to me. So Either I have a very, very active imagination or this is real. So you can just see how it works for you. So on several people, I've noticed this past week that the healing that was required was healing something called the lifeline. And well, I mean, I'm calling it the lifeline, but this is the best English version of what it is. So I'm imagining in my mind's eye, I see it as the piece that connects our individuated souls with our oversoul. So I'm calling that as a lifeline. And there's another lifeline that it connects the oversoul to what is called the hub. The hub is sort of like the first iteration of source, right when source starts to individuate into various different things. So source God is the creator of all that is. At the moment that it starts manifesting into something individuated, that is the part of the hub. There's a lifeline from the hub, the oversoul to the individuated soul. And the oversoul is like, your big soul that is where all your little souls come from. The little souls meaning, your souls from this life, past life, future lives, that kind of thing. And so we've been doing some healing on the lifeline, and also there seems to be, well, for some people, some oversoul interference, which is very strange to me. But that one oversoul has some overlap with another oversoul, and if that is not for their highest and greatest good, they can definitely have some issues, and that may be, explaining why some people have, boundary issues with the same person over and over and over again. And we have to keep, with each ascension, rechecking those boundaries. So that's another thing that's really great to check in yourself is, do I have any unhealthy boundaries less than 95% with any person, place, or thing? And you can check any lifetime if you want, if you want to do more healing than just this lifetime. The other really interesting thing that happened was, I call it, microbiome healing. So there was something happening earlier last week where there was a country, I won't say which country, doing some sort of military excavation, for lack of a better word, using some frequencies that would be similar to what we use in the U.S. called fracking, and that's where you break parts of the earth so you can get gas. Okay, so I don't know if they use explosives or whatever, but there was something about that, whatever instrument or material they were using to divert water in this case, that fracking, so it's called, it's not fracking, but it's similar, that whatever equipment they were using was creating some sort of weird frequency that was harming the microbiome of Mother Earth. So the microbiome of Mother Earth would be, all the little organisms, the natural, bacteria, in the soils that help keep Mother Earth balanced and therefore help keep the animals and insects and everything balanced. So what was happening was the insects, it was like the butterfly effect. It was like the insects were going a little crazy. The mammals were going a little crazy, in that particular country, and hard to prove. But all I can say is that the message I got was that through the butterfly effect, that the insects and some of the animals in North America were even affected by what they were doing in that country really, really far away. So what was happening was that the bugs, the biting bugs, were getting very aggressive last week. And it's interesting because I didn't really tell anybody that was happening to me, that I was getting bitten, despite all the healing work I was doing around not getting bitten and creating shields and force fields and all that kind of stuff. And I know when it doesn't work, then there's something more global I need to work on, which is why I got hinted to help heal this country. And then we ended up catching mice like a couple days in a row, which again doesn't normally happen. And again, normally the protection field that I put up prevents that from happening. So I got it down to it was their microbiome that was also affected by whatever it was going on in this other country. And then they became extra hungry. Now, that might have affected you too. So you might have noticed, maybe not, but you might have noticed that you were more hungry than normal. So what was happening was these insects, these mice, were actually kind of like their microbiomes we're not happy. The microbiome, as we know in humans, helps us to create vitamins, helps us digest our food. So if you're not digesting your food, you're not creating those vitamins, you're going to be hungry, right? So similar kinds of things going on with these what we call pests. They were hungry, so they were becoming more aggressive. Now, since doing that healing the other night, we have not seen any mice around. And haven't had those crazy insect bites, those aggressive insect bites. So hopefully that has helped you as well. But the saga goes on. You never know what's going to happen. But one of the things you can ask is, how healthy is my microbiome? And get a number out of 100 and see if there's any extraneous consciousnesses controlling your microbiome that isn't supposed to be there. So you can ask about that and just go ahead and do a Tolpacan healing command to clear any consciousnesses that is not for your microbiome and your highest and greatest good, and to be cleared and removed, and protect your microbiome with love. And then do a healing on your microbiome, so you can check in if you want on your microbiome, how that's going. Remember, you actually have other consciousnesses within you. They don't necessarily control you, hopefully, unless you have an unbalanced microbiome. But you want to keep those things in check. And then, of course, we live in the physical world, so you want to eat things that are good for your body and healthy for your microbiome. So you want to eat as little sugar as possible. And your taste buds will adjust after a few weeks of not eating too many sweets. It doesn't mean you can't eat fruit. Absolutely, you can eat fruit. But it's amazing how vegetables taste sweet after you get off the sugar. It's really quite amazing. So good quality food as best you can. Of course, bless your food before you eat it as well. So a couple other things you might be experiencing, and I know I've been experiencing, and not everybody is as clairsentient as some of us, but you might be getting some mysterious pains kind of cropping up, just like, what is this from? And you didn't injure yourself, you don't know. I mean, a friend of mine was hobbling around on crutches suddenly. Another friend of mine, having pain, in one part of her body she hadn't pain before. So I get these too. Now for me, it's usually a Mother Earth thing. So there's a part of Mother Earth that's suffering and needs some help. And then if I figure out what it is, then my issue tends to go away. But for other people, a lot of times it is a boundary issue with someone or something else. Sometimes it is their role to heal that other person, place, or thing, and other times it is not. So that's where you need to be really clear on your boundaries and keep healing those boundaries with each ascension, and just, shoring them up to 100%. And you can just do a command and see if that works for you. And if not, then that means you have to investigate a little bit further, maybe get some help from another energy healer to get those boundaries shored up to 100%. And I wish I could tell you it'll stay that way forever, but with each ascension level, we become more sensitive. So those boundaries you have to kind of, reinforce. Sorry, that's the way it is so far. And so for my personal saga is, I haven't mentioned this previously, or at least not in great detail, but I have this tendency to gain weight with each ascension upgrade. It can be upwards of at least a pound, sometimes up to 2 pounds, and it wouldn't be that I did anything different. And it's amazing. I could drink lots of water, I can eat the right foods, I can avoid, excess carbs or sugar. My diet isn't perfect, but, I think that I'm trying to live what I feel is doable for people. So, no, I don't need a lot of processed sugar, but, will I have homemade ice cream? Yeah. Have a few tablespoons of homemade ice cream. Yes, it has some raw honey in it, but that alone, I can't imagine. Maybe it does, but I can't imagine that would contribute to that, because, I'm so tired of, the average person, when I mention this, saying, oh, you just got to cut calories and exercise more. I'm like, you know what? That just pisses me off. I'm sorry. Because it's like, why did you eat like crazy? Like when you were 15 and you didn't get an ounce? If it really is calorie in, calorie out, we should all be, people eat less, they should weigh less, and they don't. It's just a myth. And Gary Taubes talks about it in Why We Are Fat in his book, so you can check that book out. But, it drives me crazy. Like even energy healers that are, maybe they're not medical people, but, They're like, oh, well, you probably have to, and of course they're not doing healing or reading at that point, but their own opinion, that's called a filter. They're like, oh, well, you have to eat less and exercise more. It just drives me crazy. I did a 12-week program, which some of you know because I posted on Facebook, 12-week program, 3 times a week, 15 minutes intense, high intensity training. And, ate mostly a paleo diet, pretty healthy diet, I would consider. I'd be thrilled if most of my patients ate that, let's put it that way. And not only did I not release any weight or fat, I actually gained 7 pounds of fat, and I gained less than a pound of muscle doing all those weights and squats and jumps and push-ups and, all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, if I told my patient to do that for 12 weeks and they didn't get results, they would hate me, And now I'm not saying that it won't help you, because my issues are kind of weird and special, and I get that. But it's like, stop telling everybody that they have to cut calories and do more exercise. Guess what? For some people, it doesn't work. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out my stuff out. I did have one energy healer tell me, a third of the weight was energetic mass as opposed to physical mass. But it does eventually go in the physical body. So, so we're trying something different now, just for experiment. I know there is one way that I release fat very well, and that's with, the HA2CG evolution weight management diet. But that's pretty strict, and for most people not sustainable. So, like I said, I know this is related to Ascension, so I would like to experiment and see what else is possible for people. Because if it can work on me, and I have pretty stubborn weight issues, you can't say I don't exercise enough, that's for sure, then, it might work for other people like me who are as clairsentient and sensitive. So you have to stay tuned, and if you see me, having a bigger gut lately, it's not for lack of trying. So, and don't tell me to eat less or exercise more. Anyway, if you hadn't caught the show with my friend Leon Zanamiari, you'll definitely have to check that out. He did a names analysis on me, and it was really, really interesting. So check out that. And if you have a little black cloud that you feel like you're walking under, you definitely need a names analysis done. So, go consult Leon and get yours done, because just from a name change, you can have a complete shift in your abundance. If your name is a problem. Mine was not, thankfully. The other things exciting coming up is we're going to be talking with the healer Diana Cushionbuck about the higher self. Now, I thought the higher self was perfect, but apparently not. So we're going to have this interesting, controversial conversation about this, because I just did a healing on my higher self, who felt that it was necessary for me to feel every single ache and pain of Mother Earth through my body, otherwise I wouldn't pay attention to her. And I had to do a little cajoling and convincing that no, I really don't need to do that in order to pay attention. I won't forget my soul's mission. So I thought our higher souls knew everything, but I guess not. So I don't know. You'll have to come on the show and ask her. This is very interesting. So I can't wait to talk to her in a couple weeks. And then at the end of the month, we have our special healing session with healer Jenny No. So we're going to do some really cool spiritual activations. People have asked to improve and enhance their spiritual gifts. So we're going to be focusing a show on doing that. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to be doing live healing. So make sure that you're live in the show if you want to get some complimentary healing work done. All right, so have a wonderful week, and remember, keep grounded, put your shield up, drink lots of water, and take care of yourself, and remember to love and be nice and compassionate to yourself and others. All right, love you all. Bye for now.